It is an honor to introduce Segundo Velasquez and the Mano organization. Mano works to build schools, clinics, reservoirs, and roads that provide education, healthcare, water, and access to people in remote and isolated areas in Bolivia. Segundo and his wife founded Mano in 1994, and the organization has grown to include several family members, including his sister, his brothers, nephews, and many Bolivian employees. They have completed over 300 sustainable projects, dramatically improving the lives of entire Bolivian communities. Bolivia has the highest rural poverty rate in the world. 94% of rural Bolivians live below subsistence level, with severely limited access to medical care and education. Many villages are isolated, without roads to bring their produce to market or access to water for irrigation. Mano's sustainable model requires that all projects be initiated from within the communities themselves. Community leaders present ideas, and then Segundo, or another member of a Mano, sits at the table with local leaders and politicians, and together they make a plan for the project. Mano provides the supplies and equipment. Politicians provide the teachers and the medical personnel, and the community provides the land and the labor. When complete, the school, clinic, reservoir, or road belongs to the people. Keys for the buildings, access to the water and roads are handed over to the local leaders. We saw firsthand the joy and pride this creates within communities. During our week in Bolivia, we traveled from village to village, visiting Mano projects. We witnessed local people empowered and communities transformed through Segundo's leadership and dedication. We met a nurse who runs the local clinic. Mano trained her to be a health promoter, going door to door to her community, educating people about their health. Then a scholarship enabled her to become a nurse. Now she supports herself and cares for the people in her community. In another village, we experienced the dedication of a road where for the first time people could bring their produce to market before it spoiled. The people's gratitude was abundant as they adorned us with leis made of fruits and vegetables from their harvest. I left Bolivia with hope and faith in the possibilities of people working together to make a difference, and confident that Segundo is a remarkable Opus Prize nominee. When Renee, Kathy, and I were in Bolivia, Segundo warmly welcomed us to Mano and to his home. So it is a pleasure now to welcome him to the St. Catherine's community.
It was a great privilege to travel with the Opus Prize Foundation to visit Mano and meet Segundo Velasquez. In Bolivia, I learned much about the people, the culture, and how Mano was making the lives of those they touched better. These were all things I had expected to experience. However, I didn't expect to experience the overwhelming joy and happiness some of the poorest people in the world would share with me. When spending time with Bolivians in some very remote areas, it became apparent how little people in the world actually could live with. Yet the happiness they have for life, their family, and friends is so grand. I received the warmest welcomes and the most grateful embraces from people of Bolivia that I've ever experienced in my life. What I couldn't understand was why. Why were they excited to see me? Why were they so grateful I was there? I had done nothing for them other than to appear in their remote village with a smile. Mano a Mano had done work to help their village in the past, but personally, I had done nothing. What didn't make sense was why I was being embraced so warmly. I thought about that for a long time, and then I asked Segundo why the people were embracing me so warmly. He looked at me, smiled, and said, "Because you are allowing them to share their story, and they know you will pass it on." Segundo and I talked about the importance of storytelling in the Bolivian culture, and how, even though I am the one visiting them and hearing their stories, the story of the people of Bolivia doesn't stop there. Segundo told me that the people are relying on me to share their story with others, so the people of Bolivia aren't forgotten. Although we encounter situations where we aren't sure what we can do for those in need or feel hopeless because we wish we could do more, sharing the stories of others evokes hope. Everyone has a story, and by passing the story on, no one is forgotten. Segundo's work has transformed my life and my call to serve others. In positions I hold on campus, just like me taking the time to listen to the stories of the Bolivian people, I am learning the importance of hearing the stories of those I work with. Taking time to listen to a colleague, classmate, family member, or friend, I let them know that they will not be forgotten. So Segundo's work and counsel to me was life-altering, and so it is a great privilege to invite him to the podium now.
Thank you, and good evening to all of you. I'm so touched and grateful to the Opus Prize Foundation and St. Catherine University for this award and recognition. Thank you on behalf of all the people that make up the Mano a Mano team here in the U.S. and in Bolivia. And I hope that our story will inspire you, and especially the St. Kate's students, to follow your passion to create a more just and peaceful world. I was born in Bolivia to poor peasant farmers that worked the land to make a living. Poverty and 8 children led our lives focused on earning enough so we can eat. We were taught to be resourceful. A nail could be re-straightened and reused. A scrap piece of wire could be coiled up and saved to hold the chicken coop. With my background, you didn't expect a different life. My 25-year-old sister died in childbirth. Later, I traveled abruptly to Bolivia, carrying a medicine that would keep my father alive and out of the hospital. My father could just not believe that this particular medicine was not available in Bolivia. So he asked his surgeon and said, "What happens to the thousands of people with this illness?" "They die," he said. "They don't have a son who lives in the U.S." I was blessed as a young adult with an opportunity to travel to these United States. For me, this peasant kid, it was like traveling to the moon. Now really, I don't know what it feels like to travel to the moon, but I know that for me and for my background, this was the implausible journey. Here, I was able to get a good education, a good job, and I was able to help my family. But there was so much more to be done. Millions of Bolivians, and especially those that were living in the rural areas, continued to live the life that I was destined for. The motivation to create a more just world took on a very special meaning to me and to my wife, Joan. Our response was the creation of the Mano a Mano, along with family, friends here and in Bolivia. I was asked to share Mano a Mano's vision for the future with you. We enter that future by building on what we have accomplished so far with the help of so many, and many who are right here with us tonight. Rural men ask us to build medical centers so that their children and wives won't die. Now, our 132 medical facilities give healthcare access to 1 million poor Bolivians. Many here tonight have helped us collect over 4 million pounds of medical surplus that was being thrown away here in Minnesota. Our centers use these gifts to provide high-quality care. Farmers tell us water is life, and roads, they say, connect us to city markets. Our water reservoirs and road projects lead to food security and a hand up from deep poverty for tens of thousands. Our aviation program rescues the sick and injured from remote areas and carries health care into the Amazon basin. Our vision is to expand the reach of each one of these programs to another 3 million Bolivians, collaboration that will increase lifespan and expand sustainable economic opportunities. I know that something special, divine, has taken place here. My wife Joan and I don't know the power brokers. We don't know really many people that have the financial resources, but we have touched many to join us on our quest, and we are making a difference together. I have been fortunate to travel often to Bolivia and have seen the impact that we are having. In children's eyes, I see hope. In their laughter, I hear God's voice. And on their faces, I see our generosity. We hope that our story will inspire you to pursue your dream of a more just and peaceful world, just as we have been inspired by those who believe that a few committed people can change the world. Thank you so much.
Vengo a conquistar, traigo mis canciones, ritmo original. Somos bolivianos de todo corazón, gritemos al mundo por nuestra libertad. Dejando mi tierra donde yo nací, junto a mis abuelos con quien yo crecí. Dejando mi tierra donde yo nací, junto a mis abuelos con quien yo crecí. Trayendo la saya original, para que la bailen todos por igual. Junto a las negritas vengan a gozar, el ritmo caliente, el ritmo para bailar. Thank you.